What are you looking at? Oh, yeah. So this is Nobara. We've seen this before running on different computer hardware. This time, it's a very old Optiplex. But we're not really stopping there because I was asked to see if Bazzite would work on one of these Core2Duos. This isn't quite a Core2Duo. I believe it's a Q9550, but we're still going to see if it works on it. We'll talk to you later. Some things work here, some things don't. Mainly, it's because, well, it is older, and some things just need a bigger or more recent instruction set. That's all. Now, technically, this Optiplex is more like a Core 2 quad. It's got 4-core, 4-thread. It is running, and it runs Linux, and it runs Windows 10 without much of a problem. Now, it does have an older hard drive in there, you can see. We do have an SSD that we've hooked up to put the Linux distributions on. We are going to do that again in a few minutes. But, yeah, I thought it was pretty neat that this thing worked at all. I've got our old standby, GT1030. Yeah, go buddy. He was in a previous video that I'll probably put in the top somewhere. Yeah, no, it's not going to do much, but then again, this computer is not going to do much. We were just asked to find out if Bazzite worked. Now, some things we have to keep in mind. Anything that's going to be like a competitive shooter or anything like that, you're not going to be able to play because of the cheat stuff. They don't want you to... Linux right now does not have the anti-cheat setup that Windows does. And I'm sure that as Linux gets more popular, we're going to find out more and more that will be added into some things like, Battlefield or, some of these other games like Marvel Rivals. But right now, yeah, we're just going to concentrate on if we can get, we know we can get Nobara to work on here and pull up, and it works for the most part. I'm going to see if I can get Bazzite on here and see if it plays any games. But yeah, I think if you've got older hardware all the way back, you can still put Linux on here pretty well and play some, I don't want to say real modern titles, but a little bit more modern titles, and certainly enough to have fun and play games with. Okay, so no, we're not going to leave this set up like this. Basically I put it in the GT1030. We've got a drive we're going to put Bazzite on. I should have already had it on there, but I realized that this was the drive that I actually had my TrueNAS on before I changed my server. 300 watt power supply. We took it out of a Dell. That means the cords are too short. That means I'm going to have to do something with that. I'll figure all that out. Don't worry. I hope. And we've got the USB with Bazzite. So now we have to configure our BIOS to take the USB drive to install Bazzite onto this drive and watch it come up. You're crossing my fingers. Oh, and for everybody playing at home, we've got a Q6600 in here. It's a Core 2 quad running at 2.4 gig, and yeah, not very fast. 1066 is the bus speed. We did the little overclock thing with a tape, and yeah, we've got our little 128 gig SSD in there, and we've got 8 gig of DDR2. That's a monster amount of DDR2, right? Anyway, so let's try to get this fired up. Okay, we know what's going on with that one, but I couldn't boot from USB to install Bazzite onto the drive. So I employed the backup plan, which I do know already has Nobara Linux, but I thought maybe I could swap things around and install it. And that didn't work so well either. So we're going to our third plan. This is an i5-6500. We are going to go ahead and try to put Bazzite on here and then move it over to the original one. This is an adventure. Okay, now before I clean all this up, I had to try to at least test this out. So this is the 300 watt power supply. I will get extensions or a different power supply. Got the SSD. We're waiting. That is a good sign that I have a cursor. I don't have the operating system coming up yet. We'll have to figure that out. I might need to find out, make sure it's booting from the right spot, but stand by. Well, I couldn't get Bazzite to load, but Nobara's coming up. So yeah. Let's see how this comes up. All right, so Nabara comes up. No problem at all with the Q6600 with DDR2 memory. Doesn't work so well with Bazzite, and that might just be an issue with Bazzite not being configured for that type of hardware. But Nabara works good, and we've already figured out that that's pretty decent. So my next step might be to put Nabara on this machine as well. Focus. I might put Nabara on this machine as well. The 9550 right there and the 6600 will both end up getting Nabara Linux and probably work out pretty well. Now, I did spend several hours on this with both the Core2Duo and the Core2 Quad, that 6600 and the 9550, trying to test both of these out and just seeing if I couldn't get either one of them to work. I tried them independently. I tried doing the USB, like I said, using the i5 6500, then transferring that to one of the other PCs. It didn't immediately work with the Core2Duo, so I switched it over to the Core2 Quad to see if I could get it to load on there. Maybe there were some other kind of issues or mistakes. No, it wouldn't work on either one of those platforms. So I'm thinking that it needs something a little bit more modern, and it's just simply not going to work on something that old. We do have the extra issue of the GT1030. Those PCI slots are only rated for about 25 watts. And if you try to put something a little bit more powerful, say even an RTX 3050 that has a video encoder, then it's going to overpower that board. You're not going to be able to get enough power to it. The reason why I say that is because Nabara Linux, even though it's a great distribution, one of the main features it has that I like is having DaVinci Resolve. DaVinci Resolve will not work if you don't have a card that doesn't have an encoder, unless your CPU does or what have you. But it makes it more difficult to use, and it errors right away. I will try to play some games on this later. Of course, I've got cable extensions coming. I figured 11 or 12 bucks is not too much to spend, but I didn't want to spend $30 or $40 on a power supply. I didn't want to spend $30 or $40 on a power supply for a PC that's probably not worth, but maybe 40 bucks. It just didn't seem like a good plan to me. So in the end, we did spend a lot of time trying to get this to work in a lot of different configurations. It installed just fine on the i5 6500, but trying to move that over didn't work at all. And that, tell the truth, one of the times that I installed Nabara Linux was by doing that in the first place. I installed it on the 6500, then moved it over. Now, since then, I was able to go ahead and use the USB drive, although it's slow and painstaking, to go ahead and install from the USB drive onto the SSD. I believe I installed it on the Core2 Quad, and then I was able to use it on either machine. So that part worked, but trying to do the same thing or the same trick and get any Bazzite or any kind of, I would say probably a SteamOS type version, I don't think is going to work the same way. And I think it's because SteamOS is looking for something that's a little bit more recent hardware, and it's just not going to work on the older stuff. I was really looking forward to testing some things, and I still am, with the 8 gig of DDR2 memory. So we'll try that out on a couple of older games. I know I have played some older games before. I played the original Counter-Strike, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, a few other things. I was able to get those to run without a problem. Dirt 4, Dirt 5, I think it was, and a few others that ran just fine. So I'll try some of those again. But I'm not thinking this is going to run. There is no way this is going to run anything more modern. And we're certainly trying to get a Linux version to work with anything that takes a cheat. When any of the cheat software is not going to work at all either. So, but anyway, I just wanted to check it out, test it out, and see how it worked. Parts of it worked, parts of it didn't, parts of it are still in progress, and we'll just have to see what happens from there. So that is all I have for this time. If you got anything out of the video, found it interesting or anything, I was asked to try it. I did. Didn't quite work the way we wanted it to, but that's okay because we learned something. If you don't mind throwing a like on the video, that'd be great if you got anything out of it. If you're not already subscribed, please do. That'd be wonderful. Trying to hit 2,000 and 3,000 and beyond. And if you don't do either one of those, don't forget my socials. But if you don't do any of that stuff, then just please do me one favor, and that's be good to each other. Smile, wave, hold the door open. Season's greetings. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, something. Just a nice good morning or good evening or hello or something, anything. Maybe now more than ever, we need just a little bit of kindness, and it doesn't cost anything. Might make you feel a little bit better, might make somebody else feel a lot better, and better is good, right?
Anyway, that is all I have for right now. So until I get myself into something I got no business getting into, and there's more of that coming, I'm going to test some of the Intel GPUs against each other again with the AV1 encoder, because drivers get updated, and we found out that the A380 got left behind a little bit with some game drivers. So I want to make sure that the AV1 encoder still works the same in 1080p as I tested before. But things like that going on, other stuff that I shouldn't be doing. But until that happens, that's all I have for right now. So until that, I'll see you later.